wheels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your time.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Walking with J.Beau, an almost daily walking vlog. Hope you're having a beautiful weekend. We're getting rain all weekend. Range day today was rained out. So you see all the robins on the lawn eating little worms, I'm guessing. It's starting to get windy. Not my favorite thing on a walk, especially when it's drizzling. So we're definitely getting wet on this walk. And I've had about 3 hours sleep. Had a very busy day today. So I'm going to go on this walk, and it'll probably take the life out of me later. But that's okay. So, got up because we weren't sure what the weather was going to do this morning, and sure enough, it was raining, so it's actually snowing. It snowed quite a bit for most of this morning. Then it turned over to rain and it all melted. So that's why you're not seeing snow now, but it was snowing really hard. So the other thing was, today was, still is, record store day. You know I'm into vinyl records, have been for many years. And I'm gonna cut across here. And so record store day, what that is these different record labels come up with specific titles and pressings exclusive to record store day. Can only get them on record store day. And when they're gone, unless they reissue it later. But usually when they reissue it later, it'll have a different color vinyl. Like it'll either just be black or some other different color, but there's usually something unique about the record store day ones. There was only 2 titles I was interested in out of the couple hundred or so that they had for exclusives. And there's a lot of artists out today that I just don't care for. So a lot of younger people have really been digging on vinyl, as I've been talking about on the walks. I'll flip the camera around. So as you can see, we're going to have an issue. We're going to have an issue with rain. So anyway, did the record store thing today, record store day, RSD 2025, hashtag RSD 2025 online if you want to find out information about it. And it all has to do with the independent, small mom and pop stores that, you know, these small little independent shops. Can be a mom and pop shop, it can be a small chain, something like that. So locally we have one here called Bull Moose Music, and there's another one called The Deep Groove. There's Record Connection in Waterville under different ownership. So you get these little places. So they've been doing this since, I want to say 2010, but it feels more like 2012 or 2011. Thanks. So I'm not sure exactly what year that started, but it used to be one day a year, usually a couple weeks or 3 weeks into April. And then they added Black Friday, Thanksgiving weekend. So basically you get these exclusive titles, and I've gotten a lot of really good ones, like previously unreleased live concerts by The Doors, things like that. A lot of times you'll have specialty records. One cool one I got was one of the first recordings Elvis did at 18 years old for his mother. And he recorded a song for her on an acetate, 78, for her. And that's one of those things where you could just go in and record. And he was just playing a guitar and singing, and he was making it for his mom. So that is one of the most expensive records you could own, the original, because it's only one. And Jack White, from formerly the White Stripes, Jack White, who's a far left liberal. He's a Trump hater. I don't even think he's that good of a guitar player. And he he bought it. He paid a lot of money for that record. I think it was like $300,000 or something. So anyway, he was associated with Record Store Day as an ambassador for vinyl records, because he likes vinyl records. And so they reissued the Elvis acetate as a vinyl record and not real acetate. And what's really cool about it is they copied all the little scrapes and scratches that the original one has, and they also recorded the recording, which has all the scratches and pops in it, because it's an old record and it's been through it, you know. And it is a 78, but it's on vinyl, and you don't need a special 78 stylus to play it. And the paper labels that are on it were copied, so everything on it's a copy. And when you hold it up and look at it, they did some kind of holographic laser transfer of all the record damage, so when you hold up the record and look at it, you can see it all in there. Pretty wild. So you get a lot of unique things like that I like. As we walk in the rain and drizzle, might start snowing by the time we're done walking. We'll see. Definitely cold enough. Just feels like spring's never gonna get here. It's never gonna get here, folks. So anyway, what the hell did I buy? I was talking about that and I got sidetracked. Well, I got a record that the last time it was pressed was 1987, and most of them were pressed for Europe, but that would be the Black Sabbath album, The Eternal Idol. It was the first album that Tony Martin sang on. You don't have to know who he is, but you probably should. But anyway, he sounded a lot like Ronnie James Dio, and very, very good singer. And he stayed with Black Sabbath till like 1995. So anyway, great album. To get an original one on vinyl from the 80s, you're gonna pay anywhere from $50 to $150 depending on the condition, because they're rare. And used vinyl's in a big demand right now. So, you know, they came out with this repressing, and it's also a 2025 remaster from the original tapes. And I don't think the original tapes are all that in a bag of chips, to be honest with you. It's never been a great sounding album, but they remastered it and they made it sound better than the original, but it's still not a high quality recording. From what I understand, it was recorded digitally. So I don't know the whole story on that. But anyway, the point is, it's more than listenable. I mean, I'm being nitpicky, but it's really good. Good guitar playing by Tony Iommi, Black Sabbath. Fantastic record. I listened to it twice today. So I'm glad I finally have it. I had it on CD, but I like having the vinyl. So it's one of those things. Now, there's a lot of people into vinyl records. They don't like it when people call them vinyls. And I don't know why anybody has a problem with that, because they're made out of vinyl. And when you're talking about more than one, what is the plural of vinyls? What's the plural of vinyl? Vinyls. Now, you could say I have one vinyl record and two vinyl records, and make records plural. And record is also correct, because it's a record of what was recorded, because a recording is a record of something that happened, and when it gets put in some kind of format, right, they still call it a record, because the industry called them records, vinyl records. Well, it's, you know, a cassette tape is a magnetic tape record, right? So technically cassette tapes are records, vinyl records are records, compact discs are records. It's a record of what was recorded. So I have no idea why people have to be retarded about that, but that's just one of those things, you know, audiophile snobs. Don't call them vinyls. All right, well then don't call them cassettes. Don't call them cassette tapes. Same thing. One's made out of vinyl and the other one's a cassette tape, a vinyl disc. So anyway, people just like to be retarded. That's the truth. So anyway, I had a good time. The other one I wanted that I couldn't get was a recording that came out a while back. Not a huge long time ago, but it's a soundtrack for a pinball machine. You heard that right. It's a heavy metal recording done by Scott Ian of Anthrax, and a guy's name I keep forgetting that was in a band called Death Clock. And ooh, my hands are cold. So anyway, it's the pinball machine theme music done to heavy metal. It's really cool, and it is Black Knight is the pinball game. Black Knight, the Sword of Death. Pretty popular pinball game back in the day. So that was one I would have gotten if they would have had it, but I had a long line I had to stand in. Had to have been over 100 people standing in line for the doors to open to the record shop. That is how popular vinyl is right now. So it took me a while to get in there, and when I got in there and finally got to the Black Sabbath, they hadn't sold a copy. All 4 of them were still there, and you could track that online with the Bull Moose website. So anyway, I got my record, and I picked out a good one. That's always the dilemma you have for record store day, you know, because they're notorious for, you know, if you get a bad pressing, good luck with that, because once they sell them, they're gone. They can't replace them. So I've actually had a couple of record store day albums. I actually had to contact the record label, and then they wanted verification. So I actually had to make a video recording of what the record was doing, compress the video, email it. It was a headache. But, you know, that happened with my Blade Runner soundtrack by Vangelis. That vinyl soundtrack had not been released ever previously. There was one in 1994 released in Brazil. Very pricey if you can even find it. So it got reissued. I get it. The album's warped, it's unplayable. And man, ain't that just a pisser? Because the album cover is stamped in foil and numbered, and they can't replace them. So what happened is they sent me a mailer, Rhino Records that is, they sent me a mailer. I mailed out the defective record, kept the album cover. They wanted me to keep the album cover. So they verified there was a problem with the vinyl LP, and they sent me a new LP. So it all worked out. But sometimes vinyl record collecting can be a headache like that. Now that was years ago, when they were just getting back into making records again. And it's almost like the people that used to make all these records got old and retired. The machines were broken down, sold off, whatever, melted down for scrap. So they had to redo and relearn everything. And from 2013 to about 2015, some companies didn't get their crap together until about 2015, 2016. But a lot of them did starting in 2011, 2012. But I got a couple albums from 2013. They're just snap, crackle, pop. Just bad pressings right from the factory. Anyway, pretty interesting stuff. I think so anyway. So I got my record store day purchase. The Black Knight pinball game one was sold out, so I didn't get that one. But I got my Black Sabbath one, and that was the main one I wanted, so yeah, that's good, you know? Ooh. Could turn the camera around. Ooh, this is raw today. My cheeks are cold, numb. There's a breeze, and it's drizzling. It's wet. So, we're gonna walk. Don't worry about the camera. Camera is waterproof. Oh my goodness. All right. We're walking. Radar seemed to indicate that the snow was moving north, because we were having a snow mix just shortly before I came out for the walk. That's why I'm expecting it again. But the radar seemed to show it kind of going towards the north. We're going to have some rain coming in behind it. Car being towed there. I'm sure you just saw that. It was dragging its muffler. It's towing two cars. So today is not the best day to walk. I contemplated and I was like, well, I really don't want to walk in this today, and I still don't, even though I'm in it. My hands are cold right now. My face is cold. I'm getting wet. And but I was like, well, I didn't walk yesterday because I had a busy day yesterday and I just didn't have time to do it. So I don't like missing 2 days in a row. Plus, I had a couple of hot chocolates today I need to burn off. So what's really funny is what's going on with the polling right now with Trump. He's coming up on 50% approval. You know, they're not getting any traction with their defamation war against Trump and Elon. It's the funniest thing ever. They don't seem to understand that people just, you know, we're not watching the media. We're not. People are tuning that out. They're tired of hearing it, and, you know, the media doesn't get it. The media should be on there doing things people want to see, like some grandma that lives in Ohio baking cookies for her retirement. You know, stories like that. That's what people want to hear. And I want to commend again, I've commended him on this walk a few times, Bill Maher, okay? Liberal Bill Maher. He is a traditional liberal. He's not a progressive. I can tell you that right now because he's not behaving like one. So anyway, he was talking about his dinner he went to go have with Trump at the White House. Remember I told you about that. And on YouTube, there's several different video uploads of Bill Maher and his show talking about it, saying that what he took away from that, and he said, I'm going to get a lot of flack from it, but, you know, he was expecting Trump to be argumentative, insulting, combative, and he said he was anything but. He said he was courteous, you know, and when the topic came up, he asked Bill what he thought of it. What do you think of this? What do you think of the border, or, you know, stuff going on with illegals? And you know, Bill Maher said he actually got a chance to speak and told him what he thought. And he said, listen to me, folks, he said, this is genuine. I'm going to flip the camera around. He said, trust me, I have talked to a lot of people that are pretty powerful. He said they're always waiting for you to stop talking so they can talk. They don't listen to what you have to say. And he said President Trump was genuine and was genuinely listening to what he had to say, and would take a comment from something Bill had said and add to it, and they were having a conversation. Now Bill said, you know, Bill's been in the entertainment industry for a long time, and he can tell when people don't like you. And he said President Trump, he said he could tell he actually liked talking with him, Bill Maher, and was interested in hearing what he had to say. Now Bill Maher's staff had printed up a sheet of paper with just about every insult that Trump had said about Bill Maher, saying he's an idiot, a moron, all this other stuff. And, you know, he handed it to the president and asked him what he thought about the comments he had made about him. And he said the president looked at it and was like, yeah, you know, he was like this, yeah, you know, I get it, you know. Bill Maher said, you know, I get it. I know what he was saying. In other words, I think Bill figured out that Trump is trying to get something done for the country, and he's on defense all the time, and now he's not. So he doesn't care what these people say anymore. He's in his second term. There's nothing left to prove now. Now he just has to do a good job, and now everybody's doing everything they can to prevent him from doing that, because they want a Democrat in there in 2028. So this is an endless cycle in politics. We know that. And so if you get a chance to watch that on YouTube, find that and give it a listen. Bill Maher is pretty funny. And like I've always said, he has his head on straight. He doesn't want trans women playing in women's sports. You know, he wants people to have abortions. He's legitimately a moderate from the old days, you know. But when he starts talking about Trump, the top of his head opens up and the brain spills out on the floor, and then he's all gibberish. Blah, blah, blah. He sounds ridiculous. So, anyway, pretty amazing things that are going on right now. Because Bill Maher was on his show, he goes, and he said, I quote, "I don't give a fuck who likes it or not. We have to start talking. If you want to chastise me because I went to go see the President of the United States, then so be it. Do that. But, you know, is this all that we're going to be as liberals? We're not going to come up with anything to fix problems. We're just going to pile on people and cancel people who don't go along with your views." So Bill Maher is awake, okay? He is. But he is caught on HBO. He does have a liberal audience. And him playing down the middle is a good thing right now. Very good thing right now, because we need this unity and we need the left to stop with the cancel culture, firing people. Now, Bill Maher had on that same show Steve Bannon. So, and, you know, Steve Bannon was on there telling him that, you know, Bill, you're getting soft. And Bill kind of felt uncomfortable when he said it. So he's going to get a lot of flack from all sides, but he's doing the right thing. And we should do that too, because all the polling suggested after Hillary lost, everybody wanted to unite 2 years into Trump's presidency because of how crazy everything went. Then we had COVID, and people are thirsting for unity. They're tired of late night talk people, consistently far left, chastising anybody on the right, making fun of voters. They have been making fun of people that voted for Republicans. And that's the mistake the left made. It's the same mistake they made after Vietnam or during Vietnam. Soldiers would come back and they were spitting on the soldiers. The soldiers were just dragged into the war, either against their will or they signed up. They were doing a job for the country. And the left still has not lost that mentality. They're still scraping and damaging Teslas, throwing Molotov cocktails at Teslas. It's the same thing. They're blaming the person that drives the Tesla to get back at the person who owns the company. And that's what they did to Vietnam soldiers. And that's what they do with everything. That's what they do with black people who vote for a Republican. And, you know, if you want to go after Trump, you know, that's fine. Trump's a big boy, he'll take care of himself. But you're not going to make any friends when you call me a racist. I'm sorry, but I fucking hate you for that, if you do that. It's a low-life, cheesy thing to do to make yourself feel good because of your own anger and the fact that you're petty. And that says more about you as a person than it does me. It means you're not a good person when you do that. So, put it in the context. Let's say you have a neighbor. The guy turns out to be a child rapist. And, well, not a child rapist. How about just a criminal? Let's just get rape right out of it because it's YouTube. Don't even want to go there. Let's say somebody robs a bank, okay? And two people they know personally have been talking with that guy for years, friends with him, and they still talk with him. And then you go over and say, how could you talk with that guy? He robbed a bank. He robbed a bank. What are you doing talking to him? Well, if you talk to him, I'm not going to talk to you. That's what the left does. Instead of being mad at the guy that robbed the bank, they're mad at other people because they're talking to them. It's that kind of mentality. You know, it's a stupid thing. Anyway, it's getting them in trouble too. You know, this is the same mentality where the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania said these ballots that aren't signed, you can't count them. And the person that was a city official, county official, said to count them anyway. And then she ended up having to apologize. Well, she broke the law. That's a felony. She went against the Supreme Court. And she was involved in election fraud. And I'm sure she's going to be prosecuted. You know, the way it works is, if you commit a crime, you don't get to go in front of a judge and say, well, geez. Or actually, you don't get to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. Don't arrest me and charge me. So this person was never charged. This person has to be charged. They have to be charged, and it has to be made public, either by the administration or the media, to send a message for midterms next year that this isn't going to be tolerated. So people are going to have to get prosecuted and go to jail for any election fraud that they have done. And you are going to see that. So Pam Bondi knew what she was getting into and what she was being asked to do, and she was all gung-ho for it. So she's very busy. And then you have a lot of impatient people in the Republican Party. When are people going to be in handcuffs? When are they going to go to jail? Come on already. So try not to do that. Can't just lock people up because you want to. You know, even the Democrats, it took a year and a half to build a case against Trump, and they waited for the election. So we'll see what happens. But until this stuff stops, it's always going to be a problem. Adam Schiff needs to be prosecuted for sedition, leaking classified information. I don't care if he was a sitting congressman. That's a crime even when a congressman does that. This guy thinks he's above the law because he was a Democrat, a ranking Democrat. So a message has to be sent. And I don't feel no bad about it. We got to do what we got to do. Country comes first. So put the camera around. Wipe the lens off. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to upset your world. So I'm getting wet. Camera's getting wet. It's waterproof. It's all covered in water, but it'll be okay. Yep, I'm gonna sleep good tonight. Here's the Easter egg tree. Everything is wet. We just hit 2.5 miles, according to the app lady in my ear. Got a pretty good sweat going. I'm not sweating a lot. It is cold and damp today, it really is. Today would be a terrible day to be sitting in the grandstands at Fenway Park waiting for a rain delay to end. Which, what it's doing right now, they'd be playing right now. They can play in drizzle. Speaking of Fenway Park, saw a guy video clip this past week. He caught a foul ball with his friggin' sandwich. He was eating some food. I think it was a sub, a sandwich kind of thing. He caught the friggin' ball in his sub, and he didn't even try to do it on purpose. Pretty funny. I have a collection of batting practice baseballs from Fenway Park. Season ticket holder there told us where to stand. He said, you stand right at the bullpen at Fenway Park and you will get baseballs. Because they hit up the line past Pesky's pole and they rattle around on the wall around the outfield, and they find their way around the wall onto the warning track, and the bullpen wall is so short you can lean over and just scoop it up with a glove. And that's what we did. So if you want to know how easy it is to get a souvenir from a Red Sox game, an official baseball that they use for batting practice, they're all the old balls. They might have scuffs on them or something, but they're baseballs. So, a little tip from me to you: next time you're at Fenway and you're in the right field bullpen area and you want to get yourself a Suvi. The other thing that's cool is a lot of times the players work out right there too. So we were talking with Pedro Martinez one game while he was doing his stretches, and somebody wanted an autograph, and Pedro was like, I gotta work, so he didn't sign the autograph. The guy was getting asked autographs all the time. Really, to be honest with you, I don't blame him for doing that, but it just seemed kind of odd. And Manny Ramirez, forget it, he just ignored everybody. So, and you have to understand, these guys are hounded everywhere they go. They go eat somewhere in public, they gotta sign an autograph, sign an. It's like, you know, you're there at the ballpark doing your job and you're getting asked to sign autographs. I get that. I understand that. I would do it for kids, you know, for sure. I don't know if he does or not. I didn't see that in person with a kid asking. It's always some guy that wants to get the ball signed and then he's going to go sell it on eBay, you know what I mean? So I also get why they don't want to sign all this stuff as also. Anyway, he seemed okay to talk to. He wasn't a jerk or anything. He's just trying to do his stretches and get ready for the game. Anyway, that's my little Red Sox story. I don't think I've ever told that story. I also have a chip of green lead paint from the Green Monster. You see it up close in person, the way it used to look before they built those extra seats on the top of the Green Monster. Off to the side of it, there's like several layers of green paint And you know, you just peel off what you want, put it in your pocket. So I got a little bit of Fenway Park at home. Kind of cool. We probably went to I'm guessing 25 to 30 games over the years riding the subway. Haven't been back since COVID. You know, maybe we should do something about that. Now, that record store day I was telling you about, today was the first record store day I go to. I was going to go to the first one they had after COVID had started, and they broke it up onto 2 different dates in the year to try to separate people and minimize the spread. They wanted you to wear a mask. It's like, I'm not doing that. So I didn't go. They didn't get my money. And coincidentally, Record Store Day had a really bad year financially that year. You know, it's like, why don't you listen to who you're selling to and stop listening to the lunatics? You know, they had a new religion to play with, masking and COVID. I've noticed a lot of the climate change thing has gone to the wayside. When did that happen? When Trump became president and told Europe, if you keep with this climate shit, we're not going to give you any fucking money. That's when that changed. So, we're getting so much for our vote, folks. Hope you appreciate it. I do, that's for sure. I'm loving every damn minute of this. I really am. These people in Washington, D.C. right now, in the media, they don't know whether to shit or wind their watch, as the old saying goes. Grandfather used to say that. He thought it was hilarious, and it is. That's one from the archives. Also, we got a couple of Boston Bruins hockey pucks too from warm-ups. They went over the glass and in the seats during warm-ups. So we've always been pretty lucky with that. I got pictures of me, screenshots I took off TV, because we were sitting right behind the goaltender, right in the first row behind the goaltender all night, and I was on TV all night. The both of us were, my brother and I. Pretty cool stuff. So a lot of things are starting to come back around for me, I think, as far as things feeling normal. Because you look at it from my point of view, and President Trump was out of office because of a rigged election, but I probably just triggered a footnote underneath my video. Yes, okay, Biden won the election, all right? I get it. That's what they claim. All right, does that satisfy you, YouTube? Then we had COVID before that, and we've had the friggin' mess that Biden has created in the Middle East. It's been constant turmoil since Trump was president last. And things were going great before COVID. Economy was on fire, everything was awesome. And, you know, COVID combined with Democrats winning the White House destroyed everything. It made it worse. To the point now where all of these people losing their government jobs should be blaming Joe Biden and the Democrats for it, because they're the ones that caused it. They caused the inflation, the spending. And all these cuts that have been made, this is important to acknowledge this, and you can look this up, doesn't even put us back to the number of people that were working for the government before COVID. After COVID, the government started hiring thousands of people. The government is an economy on its own, and that's why we have inflation. Government spending causes inflation. Trump is returning it to the private sector and getting rid of the government fat, because it's going to kill us. It's going to kill all of us financially. Speaking of killing, we had another idiot in Butler, Pennsylvania, coincidentally, who was just arrested this week, charged with criminal threatening to kill the president and Elon Musk. And somebody's going to beep at me going by because I got the camera. Be surprised if they don't. They think I'm streaming live. That's why. And I would like to be doing that, but I need a portable internet to do that with a reliable connection. And then the other problem with YouTube is if you live stream, you have a good picture quality for about 45 minutes. And then they throttle your stream because you're using up too much bandwidth for too long, especially if you're not monetized. So by the time the walk is done, it looks like 240p old VHS tape or something. It's really horrible looking. I don't know how the other platforms are. I guess I could look into it, but this just works out better for me, because then if I say something I shouldn't, I can edit it. You know, I don't want to give away personal information of other people, that sort of thing. So for security reasons, this is a lot better. So anyway, this guy was making threats. Calls himself Mr. Satan, if you're wondering. Has a YouTube channel. That's where he did his threatening. He tried to remain anonymous and it didn't work. So, another guy who thought he could outsmart Trump's administration, because somebody told him Kash Patel was an idiot, which he isn't. So, he got arrested. And he'll be charged. As well he should. And that goes for any Republican doing something stupid like threatening Democrats. Nobody can do that, period. It's just, no. And if you know somebody that's talking about crazy stuff like that, you know, we can't wait to see if he's going to do something or not. You got to let somebody know. Got to. It's not okay to do that. It's not normal. I don't go on the internet and start wishing Democrats harm and all kinds of stuff. You know, we don't do that. Just no, 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 no. No, no, no. Now we're going 3.5 miles, according to the woman in my ear. Here. Feeling my lower back. Told you guys that when something happens, like if I'm fatigued or I didn't get enough sleep, you know, that's where I feel it. My lower back starts tightening up. It's not tightening up like it was about a month ago. Got a pretty good stamina going right now, but I'm feeling it. But I'm still going to be happy later when I'm sitting there nice and comfortable after I eat something. And I'm going to say, yeah, I'm glad I went out and walked today. I burned off the hot cocoa. About another 1.5 miles talking to you. I got a little further to go after that. So this morning I came outside. It's about 7:30 because the record store was going to open at 8 o'clock in the morning instead of their usual 10 o'clock. And it was snowing a lot. So couldn't see out of my windows in the car. I had to clean them off a little bit before leaving. But we got there. And there wasn't any salt on the roads or anything because it wasn't necessary. Within an hour after it stopped snowing, it all melted. So, as you can see, it's gone. We might get some more later tonight though. But by the end of the day tomorrow, it'll be gone. So we have a lot of things that have never been cleared up about the JFK assassination. The three big ones for me is the CIA insisting there was more than one shooter, and then they changed their mind later. And then we had a famous film clip with that officer, detective or FBI person, whoever it was, holding up a rifle for the media and all the flash bulbs going off. Well, that rifle is not the one that was used to kill Kennedy, because that was not a Italian-made, I believe it was a 2.0 Carcano rifle, very inexpensive rifle to buy, and back then you could buy it mail order, which is what they said Oswald did, and he probably did. But that's not the rifle that was used. And somebody that worked in that book repository said he would have had to have been an absolute Olympian to accomplish getting those shots off and putting the rifle away, going on down all those flights of stairs. And it just, a lot of things, too many things don't add up. If you had one thing, you could say, okay, well, maybe, you know, but there's too many. And unfortunately, I don't think we're ever going to know the complete truth, even though we know the truth. They killed Kennedy, and it had to do with the Vietnam War and the Cold War. And Kennedy had been making speeches about cleaning up the deep state. He was worried about orders he had given and they weren't being carried out. People were going rogue like they are now. And they had the Bay of Pigs disaster. Then they had the Cuban Missile Crisis. And people were doing things in the military behind JFK's back on their own initiative because they didn't trust the president. Kind of what they're doing now. And he was about ready to do something about it. And oh, geez, well, he got killed. I guess he can't do nothing about it, can he? And that's why I worry about Trump. I'll tell you right now, the worst thing that they could do is kill Trump. Worst thing they could do, because they're never going to get what they think they're going to get out of it. It's never going to go away. That will stain and hurt the country. I mean, we're still talking about JFK, are we not? So, given the gravity of everything that's Trump, it would be a big mistake for them to do that. Now, if they could kill Trump, they would do something with some kind of handshake with nerve toxin, or, you know, something that the Russians like to do. North Korea's done that. They've assassinated people, dissidents, at airports. And, you know, one guy stopped to get some shoes, and on the way in there, he talked with somebody, they shook hands, and then a couple minutes later, while he was trying on shoes, he died. And it turns out he was poisoned. Just through the skin. I don't know how they do that stuff, but they have that. And we know about that, so something like that could happen with Trump. And say, well, he just had a heart attack and died. Well, who are we going to blame then, you know? That's what they would do. They would do something to make it look like natural causes because of his age. And in fact, if Trump had some kind of stroke and he died, first thing everybody's going to think is they killed him. So I got to tell you, that's the first thing I would think. Whether it was true or not, I would be like, I would believe that until you prove me otherwise. Because they have gone so over the top with everything else that, you know, it's very dangerous times we're in. So yes, I think they killed JFK, and they found a patsy. And, you know, Oswald was no saint. He was, you know, mentally ill. He's not a well person. So I believe if they had a chance to take out Trump, they would take it. That's all I'm saying. And that might be what we saw in Butler. Still don't know about that yet. You know, this freaking pimply-faced kid crawling around up on a roof like that, while coincidentally they have the people that were stationed on the roof come off the roof. something fishy with that. It just is. Given the toxic political atmosphere that we had, then the whole thing with not using drones for surveillance. You had a rally where almost 100,000 people were going to be showing up. You know, and then this guy had a rangefinder, he had a backpack. You know, he didn't go through security because of stuff like that. And, you know, they didn't pull him aside and find out who he was, grill him, question him, detain him. You know, why are you showing up at a Trump rally with a rangefinder? What are the uses for a rangefinder? Playing golf. It's usually a rangefinder made for golf, but many people use those at gun ranges. So there's only really two reasons why a person would be going to a Trump rally on a bicycle with a backpack. So where was the rifle he used? If you broke that down, you could fit it in a backpack. AR-15 comes apart very easily with a pin, and you swing the upper, and you take the pin out, and you know, you can take it apart. Where did he have that? How come we haven't heard about it? Where did it go? Where did all that go? I want to know. So supposedly they're going to be releasing that info. Trump wants to know about it too. And he's the president, in all fairness. He's the one that got freaking shot. So if anybody wants to see it, it's going to be him. So another interesting talk today, I thought. Wanted to share some things I usually don't talk about because I'm yakking about politics all the time. Woohoo! A lot of water. A lot of water here. Excuse me. A lot of water down here running from all the rain. Last year, this was a torrent most of the year. You see where it ate into the ground. We had, well, last year was pretty dry. It was the year before that. It rained almost every day, it seemed like. We had record rainfall. Then last year was bone dry. And now we're kicking off with some water. Little brook up here where this comes from runs through the bird sanctuary up there where we go woods walking, and a lot of times you've seen them on my walks, but a lot of times you'll see a mama duck with a baby duck piddling around on this water on the side here. It's teaching the baby duck what the baby duck needs to do to be a big duck. and waiting to see my ducks again. Where are you? Where are you, little duckies? Sometimes they come right in here. We got this little tide pool. And they scoop up bugs to eat and stuff. Or whatever ducks munching on. Munching ducks. So that kind of sucked. We didn't get to go shooting today, and the weather's not going to be any better tomorrow. So we're not going to be shooting tomorrow either. I'm going to have a brief respite, which is happening right now, and then it's going to snow in about an hour from now. I didn't know if it was going to start while I was walking. And then it's going to turn to rain in the morning. It's like it did last night. Probably a carbon copy. Come off to the side here. I hear a car coming up behind me. Go home and relax. Have a nice hot coffee. Take a nice hot shower. Get something to eat. And rest my bones. I'm gonna rest my bones. Ground's getting soggy. My feet aren't wet yet. Keep walking on this stuff, they will be. We just hit 4.5 miles. I did 4.5 miles in 1 hour and 16 minutes. That's a really good time. Now, you know, the apps are good and everything, and the GPS, but a lot of times they don't get my miles per hour right. They'll tell me the maximum miles per hour I walked was 6 or 7 miles per hour. Mathematically, that doesn't add up. So, 7 miles per hour, I've never walked 7 miles in an hour. Not once. Best times I've ever had was 15 minutes, 20 seconds, 15 minutes, 30 seconds for a mile. So 15-minute miles. Now, my walking comes out to about 4, maybe 4.5 miles per hour. That's more realistic. There's another puddle of water down here where I see the ducks. Now this is the beginning part of that stream we saw down the road. It goes all through the woods here. Comes from underneath the road and comes across here from over there. Now this body of water over here, over the edge of that, is got a sewer pipe, but it goes to an actual sewer. It doesn't come out across the street here. And we saw that big giant brown rat with a black tail. That was a big rat. somebody's ball. Somebody lost their ball. What I'm going to do is kick it up here. I'll put it there where somebody wants their ball, they can come get it. That way it won't get runned over. It won't get ran over, runned over. Wipe this off here. Whew. I'll be glad when this walk's over with today. I'm definitely feeling fatigued. I didn't have enough sleep. I had a busy day. It's been a long day. I'll survive. I'll survive, dadgummit. Dadgumma. One thing you won't hear me do, you won't hear me use God's name in vain, and I won't use it in a blasphemous nature. I will say dog damn, whatever, but I won't say the other one, and I'll say cripes instead of the J word. That's just my own personal thing. I've been doing that for over 20 years now. I just don't think it's good to do that. But I'll say something like son of a bitch and fuck damn it though. You get where I'm coming from? Good. I used to learn a lot of good swear words from my dad when he'd hit his hand with his thumb with a hammer or something. Or the wrench would slip when working on the car. That'll do it too. Sometimes it needs to be said, folks. That's all I'm saying. All right, we got a little stretch up here. I'm just about ready to hit 5 miles. Any time now. I'm waiting so I can hear what time the time is. Should be after we cross the street, if GPS is somewhat accurate today. Cut across here. Oh, I'm feeling it today, folks. That's all right. I'll wake up tomorrow feeling great. That's the whole point. It'll be raining outside, and I'll say, well, I got my walking in yesterday. If it rains hard and I don't walk tomorrow, then it won't be so bad. I didn't miss today. All right. Turn the camera around over here. I'll say my sweet nothings to you. We got enough battery. See, now the sun wasn't out today. When the sun's out, it really eats up the battery. Today is cloudy, and I got battery left. Usually it's gone dead by now when the sun's out. I just hit 5 miles. All right, friends, I want to say thank you very much for watching my walks. Click like and subscribe. Say a prayer for President Trump and the country. And say a prayer for the people losing their government jobs that hate Trump. And say a prayer for the people that hate Elon. They've been given raw, bad information. And Elon is doing a good thing. The media and Democrats are telling everybody that they're not. They're stealing Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security and every other damn thing. It's not true. So, new poll numbers for Trump. People are expecting he's going to hit 50%, 51% again. So the people get it. They get it. So his first term with Russiagate, his numbers went down because people were believing the media. Now they're not. So this is all good. So anyway, everybody, thank you very much for walking with me today. Click like and subscribe. And God bless you. We'll see you on the next walk, friends. Bye-bye now. See you soon.